and robotics that developed the first locally made humanoid robots in Saudi. Dr. Mohammed Al-Sahili, a physician who became a visionary entrepreneur. He leads various community-driven health, sustainability, and wellness initiatives across Africa and the Middle East. Dr. Charles Leptesh, an AI transformation healthcare executive. He is the vice president at Topcon Healthcare, leading AI-powered digital health and diagnostic innovation across Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. And finally, Mr. Ahmed Bakar, a seasoned aerospace and aviation executive. He is a program director at Thales, with a career spanning drones, airports, and advanced aerospace innovation. To set the stage for our discussion, let's first make sure that we have a shared understanding of the knowledge economy in the context of Lebanon. Mr. Wahbe, let me first start with you with the first question. So when we say knowledge economy, what does this mean for Lebanon? And where do you see Lebanon's strongest knowledge economy opportunity? Is it in its talent, in its entrepreneurship, innovation, or something else?
Great. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you to Pascal for the invitation. Before I answer that question, I want to preface by saying that some of my contributions for this are from my work for the World Economic Forum AI Expert Network. And the knowledge economy for Lebanon means the ability to transition towards the innovation economy where the conversation is happening globally due to the power of AI. And as we work with emerging AI ecosystems, every country, every state is trying to figure out what is my competitive advantage in AI specifically. Before we identify what is the competitive advantage of Lebanon, we need to have a baseline. So the first step is to have a map of the knowledge economy of Lebanon. And once we have the map of the knowledge economy of Lebanon, we need to identify in the AI world who are the stakeholders that need to participate. So in the AI world, you have AI for kids, AI for entrepreneurs, AI for investors. Once we identify those stakeholders, the contribution that I did for the World Economic Forum is something called the WTP, the willingness to participate in an AI ecosystem. And what that means is every region has between 6 to 8 attributes that drive the willingness to participate. So what is my willingness to participate in the Lebanon knowledge economy? The way that we can identify that is by having the map, and the willingness to participate is a function of the highest number of resources on the knowledge economy map. So without having a knowledge economy map of Lebanon, we can't identify the competitive advantage, but what we can do is we need to identify those attributes that drive the willingness to participate, and then we need to benchmark against two similar competitors to Lebanon. So we can't say that Silicon Valley or India are knowledge economy competitors of Lebanon, but we need to find two similar nations that Lebanon is competing with in the knowledge economy, and that will drive Lebanon to identify the competitive advantage. So we need to tackle this from a first principles perspective, and that starts with the knowledge economy map and identifying the attributes which are a function of the resources on the knowledge economy map.
Thank you. So if this is what the knowledge economy for Lebanon will look like, Dr. Mitri, why is the knowledge economy important today? Like, why is this topic important today? And more specifically, what does it mean for Lebanon, and how would Lebanon benefit from it, and it will help its economic recovery?
Perfect. أول شيء, thank you for having me. I will speak in Lebanese لأنه اشتقت أحكي لبناني. أنا I believe كل بلد بيبني. Thank you. I believe كل بلد بيبني الإيكونومي تبعه based on pillar, based on tangible، أشياء قادر يلمسها وقادر يبني على أساسها وقادر يعمل scalability لهيدي الأشياء. لبنان منه بلد غني بالموارد الطبيعية، منه بلد عندنا مناجم ذهب وألماظ، نحن ذهبنا وألماظنا هن طاقاتنا هن شبابنا. So I believe in the knowledge economy is not only a phase that will transition Lebanon into its next phase. هي خلاص لبنان. If you take a small benchmark, let's talk about China. 1978, 1979, China كانت بلد طالع من حرب عالمية ثانية، بلد الكوميونيزم اكلها، شعبها فقير، منه مثقف، منه معلم، شخص واحد one leader had vision لهذا البلد، بني pillars for knowledge economy. و very few people know and understand that China الترانزيشن اللي عملتها between 1979 واول ال 2000 كانت اسمها hybrid knowledge economy، اللي حول الصين ووصلها اللي وصلت له اليوم هي knowledge economy. So going back to Lebanon، نحن اللي بيهمنا مش نصدر أدمغة، مش نفلش هنا من لبنان، the way opposite، نمكن الشباب اللبناني، وأنا بسميهم أبطال، نحن فلينا بس هن بقيوا. هالأبطال resilient Lebanese entrepreneurs اللي فضلوا to be the change not wait for a change، وخولوا لبنان يوصل لمحلات ما فكرنا نوصل نحن من قبل. نحن هدفنا وشغلنا as diaspora نمكنهم ونساعدهم for the next phase.
Thank you. Let's look at the how. Like, how have other countries built like successful knowledge economies? And here I would like to address a question to Mr. Bakar. When we look at countries that have successfully built knowledge economies, like how did they define it for themselves, and how did they develop it throughout the years?
Thank you very much for this question. So basically, if we want to look into successful models, we need to understand what is the system or the process that allows these countries to be successful in building their economy. And base it on knowledge. So you look at aspects and at pillars of this economy. So you think about universities, you think about the public sector, and you think about companies and the private sector. And in successful models like the one in the Netherlands, we have what we call the golden triangle. And this is basically the cooperation between these three entities in order to bridge the gap in a particular sector. And recently, the Netherlands and Europe were extremely behind on artificial intelligence, for example. And what they did is that they actually built accelerators and workshops within universities, within knowledge institutes, and these actually led to particular startups that became companies. So there are payment companies and different companies that are valued with basically $100 billion at the moment, and they started out of university. But the main factor was the cooperation between these three factors to give the direction within the country.
Okay. Well, I mean, now if we agree that Lebanon has a real opportunity in the knowledge economy, the next natural question is actually like, how do you make all this happen? And knowledge economies do not emerge by accident. Actually, they are like built on a set of core enablers. And here I would like to mention 4 enablers: talent, innovation and research, institutions and governance, and infrastructure. And we'll tackle each one of those in our panel today. So starting by the first one, which is the foundation, the people. Dr. Ptesh, Lebanon is widely recognized for its strong talent, much of which is now like globally dispersed. What do you see is the key strength of our talent, and how can this talent be leveraged to serve the knowledge economy?
Thank you, Maria, for hosting me. Thank you, everyone, for coming. So first, we operate, like I can give you an example about the Lebanese team that we established. We are a corporate company. We have approximately 5,000 employees operating globally, and we are a hardware manufacturer. In fact, one of the successful stories, we were able, in fact, to establish a team, an excellence team in Beirut, which is running the full digitization process globally. This team is pretty much focused on implementing and deploying national screening program using AI and using cloud services as well. This team success, if we look at it, if you look at the components of success, if you look at the people who are working in this team, Most of them, they have common characteristics or common competencies as Lebanese people. And why this team succeeded, why the European team couldn't succeed in this operation of digitization, the whole process of the corporate, or leading the digitization process transformation of the national healthcare systems. Mainly, Lebanese people are highly adaptive. They have a multilingual factor, which is helping them, as well as they are mostly like problem-solving attitude, as well as high resilience operation. Mostly not high resilience, I don't like the word. I like more, let's say, positive adaptation, mainly, and task owners. So if we look at the competencies, we are talking about entrepreneurial skills even at the corporate level of the employee. So taking a task, doing it, accepting the challenge, despite all the fact. And this is forged by the fact that most of the Lebanese are facing a complex environment day by day. So if we need to leverage on top of it, we can take, let's say, 3 easy steps. One of them is, as you said, as this LDE event is moving forward and establishing that we need to stop the brain drain and exporting people to moving to the brain circulation, which is mainly what we call in our corporate environment the talent flow. This is one step. Secondly, we need to adopt in all our projects, governmental, private, or public, a digital-first skills development. Any project should take into consideration the implementation of AI, infrastructure, data security. All those layers should be integrated in any future loan, any future investment. As well as the last point is to create a secure framework, a secure access and fast access to private investor in diaspora or in the corporate environment to access those talents beside or away from the gap of the governmental bureaucratic system. This is pretty much essential. So again, the heading of the talent flow is the way to go. It is the way to export ideas, expertise, skills, and mentor those skills and resources rather than just exporting people.
Okay. I mean, we agree that we have a strong foundation in terms of talent, but nowadays, like the skills are, the required skills are evolving very fast. Dr. Sahili, given how quickly skills are changing and given Lebanon's current economic and institutional constraints, how can vocational training, lifelong learning, and digital education help Lebanon remain competitive in the knowledge economy?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having us first. And I would like to second my fellow panelists when they focused on the brain gain instead of the brain drain. And if we take that into consideration, we look at 2 factors. We have a high literacy rate in Lebanon. And unfortunately, since 2019, we have approximately 15% of the population that has immigrated. So let's look at some examples that were successful, like for example in Singapore, where what has been done is that we have integrated AI-driven solutions in order to tailor and create special curricula to individual skill gaps. That will help also if we look at lifelong learning, for example. If we can seal a deal between public and private sector with the help of the diaspora in order to, for example, have Coursera or even local startups building such curricula also to look at the emerging fields such as sustainable energy or even if we look at AI, etc. This will help in looking and bridging the gaps and also reducing the unemployment rate by giving some people the opportunity of upskilling remotely. Last and for least, also, we can rely on a joke that we always use in Lebanon, which is a talent and it's an asset, the multilingual asset that we have, Hi Kifak Sava, right? This will help us if we can use this as instead of importing skills, exporting those skills through virtual training hubs and turning Lebanon into the Middle Eastern hub for such training centers. That will help in accessing other markets in emerging countries such as those that are in Africa and beyond.
Thank you. Dr. Mitri, what do you think are the skills that are missing the most in Lebanon? Like, and what are the changes needed to actually make sure that the graduate skills are aligned with what the knowledge economy demands?
It was my question.
Yes.
الصوت فيه echo.
Yeah, I'm not able to hear as well very well. So I'm talking about the missing skills that could be missing in Lebanon for the graduates to make sure that there is alignment between what is needed and what is available.
Perfect. And I believe we have great universities in Lebanon. We have great schools. عندنا professors ودكاترة بياخذوا العقل. المشكلة بلبنان هو إنه we have an outdated curriculum. We are still working in a theoretical curriculum, not in an applied curriculum. وإذا بنطلع بالبلدان الحوالية, let's take Saudi Arabia for example, because I live there. السعودية شو عملت بنظام التعليمي؟ أخذوا بوز، عملوا global benchmarking، طلعوا وين العالم رايح. ثاني أقوى اقتصاد بالعالم هو الصين. فوتوا اللغة الصينية ضمن المنهج التعليمي السعودي for example. This is applied curriculum. في كتير سكيلز الشباب اللبناني بحاجه لها، الجين زي والجين الفا اللي هلا بالمدارس اللي بعد 10 او 15 او 20 سنه حيكونوا هن محلنا. We should give them skills, entrepreneurial skills. We should give them multitasking skills. So في كتير اشياء بالمدارس that need a small change so we can reach. عندي مسج كمان من القلب بدي وصله for the entrepreneurs لانه unfortunately entrepreneurship صارت اذا بدك Instagram success, overnight success, which is not. فينا بس نوطي الايكو شوي لانه عم بسمع حالي مرتين اذا في مجال. Thank you. It's fine. So okay, thank you. So entrepreneurship شيء كتير عظيم لدرجه انه كل مره بحكي عنه بحس وقف شعر بدني على اللبناني. صار لي 11 سنه انا مغرب تارك لبنان، ما حدا وصلني، ما حدا عملني، عملت حالي من الصفر. تركت لبنان عمري 22 سنه، طلعت على المملكه العربيه السعوديه، ما بعرف حدا، ما عندي حدا، تعبت، شقيت. عشت اول 8 سنين من حياتي suffering to be able to say انه على السنه التاسعه I started to unlock what is entrepreneurship. So المسج بدي وصله انه nothing comes easy in life. الشباب اللبناني عم بيجربوا بس ما فينا نشوف failure يقول لك انا فشلت صار لي شهرين بجرب. This is not entrepreneurship. So كمان نحن واجباتنا نكون mentors to mentor هالشباب اللبناني اللي طالع ونقدر نساعده as much as we can. نحن وصلنا غيرنا في يوصل. Our social responsibility is to support and hold their hand until they reach and achieve what they are planning to.
Thank you. So strong talent is essential, but on its own, it's not enough. The next step is to actually turn this talent into innovation and research. Mr. Wahbe, there is a risk that Lebanon could become known mainly for its source of low-cost talent. How can Lebanon actually move up the value chain to move from execution to innovation and the creation of intellectual property?
Great question. And everything that my fellow panelists said can actually be consolidated into a center of excellence. So let me explain. If I'm sitting today in Boston, the AI value chain, I have an AI lab for healthcare, I have an AI lab for marketing, I have one for nutrition, I have one for finance, I have one for every part of the economy. What Lebanon needs is a knowledge economy center of excellence. So the outdated curriculum you mentioned and everything that we need to teach. And if we believe that the knowledge economy is the future for Lebanon, there needs to be a center of excellence that's platform agnostic, that's university agnostic, and led by every stakeholder in the ecosystem, because it's what works in other countries. So if we've seen that these AI centers of excellence, they work in Boston and Silicon Valley, that's what we need in Lebanon, because every school, K-12, needs to have an AI center of excellence. Every university in Lebanon needs to have an AI center of excellence because of the outdated curriculum and everything else happening. So the knowledge economy and to kind of move up the value chain, that work needs to be consolidated into a knowledge economy center of excellence. And you can't talk about an emerging market, whether it's India or Nigeria or Lebanon, without talking about the institutional voids. I don't know how that translates into Arabic, but institutional voids are areas of the economy in the finance sector, in the labor, in the talent market, and the infrastructure where entrepreneurs can identify those opportunities. So the institutional voids that exist in emerging markets are actually entrepreneurial opportunities. And that's how we need to look at Lebanon and moving up the value chain. Moving up the value chain, as the world is racing towards the innovation economy, we can't only be talking about the knowledge economy, because the cost of intelligence has gone to zero. everybody now is a so-called expert. So if the knowledge economy, the cost of knowledge has gone to zero, where does Lebanon find the advantage? That needs to be something that every stakeholder is at the table. Otherwise, we're going to miss not only the AI wave, but every wave that's coming.
Yeah, totally agree. And that shift actually depends on also like how well the research is connected to the real economy. And this brings me to my next question, Dr. Ptesh. So Lebanon has strong universities and creative researchers, yet relatively very little research turns into scalable innovation. What needs to change for ideas and research to actually turn into like startups and products?
Thank you for the question, Maria. Regarding the research, today research to become scalable innovation needs global market access. This is an essential point today we need to think about. And if we need to take an example, for example, once we acquisitioned our core back process and our core cloud infrastructure, we went to Oulu. Oulu is a small city in the north of Finland, which is thriving mainly due to the fact that universities are there next to global corporation, global corporate environment, as well as other main institutions. All this frictional environment allowed startups, university, research to be fully aligned in order to go to market. So any product development should take into consideration the research that are being made. And whenever you give research open access to markets or global access, then you can fund it properly, you can develop the segment and become an industry. If you look at major, let's say, countries where development are occurring, they have the highest published papers by default. So if we need to enable research, we need to stop doing research just for research, just for publishing papers. We need to start aligning our research with a go-to-market and a global market accessibility. And the way to do that is first, please, to declassify Lebanon from the high-risk countries list. Today, we, as a corporate, we cannot invite international talents to come to Beirut. It's still classified as a high-risk country. We need to bring back those corporates to open their offices as a starting point, to create this frictional environment, and then to be capable to interlink through transfer offices or translation mechanism in between our universities and get the funding required from the go-to-market or the global market accessibility. Without that, we are still operating in silos. We are still operating on a very, very small scale.
Thank you. Now, let's make this look a little bit more concrete and talk about specific sectors. Dr. Sahili, do you see any specific sectors, such as fintech or health tech, where Lebanon could realistically innovate at a global level? And what are the barriers that would actually prevent it from doing so?
Of course we do. Let's take the two factors again. We have an entrepreneurial spirit as Lebanese. This is by default. And at the second side, we have also a great position. We are a bridge between Africa, Middle East, and Europe. If we take those two factors, that will show us that we have a great potential. Now, if we look, for example, at fintech, what do we have in our hands? We have a diaspora that is approximately funding Lebanon with $8 billion. Imagine if we can go and create AI solutions where, for example, we are focusing on blockchain-based, let's say, financial remittances, where those decentralized financial apps will allow us to reduce our banking fees by 50%. This will allow us also to use the AI in order to detect earlier any fraud. This is one example where we can use the assets of diaspora. Second thing, if we look at healthcare and health tech, I agree with Dr. Ptesh that we cannot continue having research just for the sake of having a research. We have to leverage our top-ranking hospitals. And if we do so, we can easily build an AI-based telemedicine solution, taking into consideration as well our diversified population. So if we integrate our genomics into and use that data, this will allow us to not export anymore our doctors or nurses or whoever works in healthcare into hospitals abroad, but will allow us to run hospitals from within Lebanon. And this will also help in our brain gain that we spoke about earlier. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, innovation.
Sorry, you asked about. Sorry, you asked about the barriers. I forgot about.
Yes, barriers.
Well, barriers. Of course, we have the electrical outages. We have barriers related to infrastructure, which doesn't help with the data centers, etc. But I think that this also is an opportunity for us to allow investment where we are calling private sector to partner with the public sector. And I believe that MP Basile has mentioned this earlier, where he clearly stated the need of co-investing in order to face those barriers in time. Thank you.
Thank you. Of course, innovation needs institutions and governance, like the right institution and governance framework for it to thrive. Now let's watch an intervention from Dr. Pierre El-Khouri, a UN consultant and a researcher in intellectual property and new technology laws in Lebanon, who he will share with us where Lebanon stands today.
مرحبا، أنا بيير الخوري، محامي وباحث بقوانين الملكية الفكرية وقوانين تكنولوجيا المعلومات والاتصالات. حالياً عميد كليات الحقوق والعلوم السياسية في جامعة سيدة الويزة NDU، ومدير معهد المحاماة في نقابة المحامين في بيروت. من 20 سنة على الأقل بشتغل على التوازن ما بين التكنولوجيات الحديثة والقانون، وكيفية دمج التكنولوجيا بالقانون، وكيف يمكن للقانون أن يغطي الحالات الجديدة التي تنشأ بتطور التكنولوجيا. اقتصاد المعرفة هي منا هدف للاقتصاد اللبناني، هي بصلب الاقتصاد اللبناني، لأنه ما عنا إلا المعرفة لنبني عليها ولاقتصادنا يقوم ويقوى على هالأساس. ولكن المعرفة مهما كانت كبيرة، إذا ما في إطار قانوني بيحميها، بيحط لها إطار وبيشجعها، رح تبقى معرفة بحتة ولن تتحول إلى أصل اقتصادي يمكن الاستثمار فيه بالمستقبل. رغم كل التحديات، لبنان بلش مش اليوم، يعني على الأقل من 3 أو 4 سنوات بمسار تحديث البنية القانونية ببعض القوانين يلي هي قوانين أساسية جدا. أولا سنة 2022 تم إقرار قانون إدخال تدريس الروبوتيك والذكاء الاصطناعي بالمدارس، وهيدا قانون أساسي هدفه ليس فقط تربوي ولكن هدفه اقتصادي استراتيجي، لأنه يلي عم ندرسه اليوم بالمدارس هيدا تقطف ثماره بعد 10 سنوات، ونحن بنعرف كلنا قد ايه أهمية التكنولوجيا والذكاء الاصطناعي بالمستقبل الاقتصادي للدول. إذن هيدا قانون أساسي جدا، وأنا كتبته وكان لي شرف أني شارك بكتابته. ثانيا في عنا موضوع الثقة الرقمية، وهون بحب أحكي عن مشروع مرسوم أيضا أنا شاركت بكتابته وموجود حاليا لدى الوزير المختص بالذكاء الاصطناعي اللي هي الوزارة المستحدثة حديثا مؤخرا. هذا موضوع أساسي، لأنه اليوم إذا بدنا نحكي عن خدمات إلكترونية أو خدمات رقمية، بدنا ننتقل من الورق إلى الإلكتروني، يجب أن يكون لدينا التوقيع الإلكتروني للسندات الرسمية. عم بحكي إذن اليوم الموظف الرسمي الذي يوقع سندا لا يمكن أن يوقعه إلكترونيا، ولكن بدنا قانون أو بدنا مرسوم لتطبيق إذن القانون الموجود عندنا من 2018. وهذا الأمر أساسي جدا للانتقال التدريجي إلى الخدمات الإلكترونية أو الرقمية، لنوصل إلى إدارة حديثة بعلاقتها مع المجتمع وبعلاقة الإدارة مع غيرها من الإدارات الرسمية. ثالثا في عنا كمان موضوع أساسي جدا يلي هو لا يمكن أن يكون لدينا اقتصاد رقمي أو اقتصاد معرفي من دون ما نتطرق له، هو حماية البيانات ذات الطابع الشخصي. نحن في عنا قانون صدر ب 2018 ولكن ليس على المستوى المطلوب إن كان محلياً أو إقليمياً أو دولياً. كمان أنا من حوالي 3 سنوات صغت مشروع قانون يتعلق بحماية البيانات ذات الطابع الشخصي يعدل القانون الحالي، وتم إقراره والموافقة عليه من قبل مجلس أوروبا، وحالياً هو لدى الوزارات المختصة لتحويله إلى المجلس النيابي، وإقراره أكيد ما بيكون أسرع بيكون أحسن، لأنه كل يوم عم نخسره هو خسارة للاقتصاد الوطني. رابعاً، إذا ما فينا نحكي عن اقتصاد معرفي من دون ما نتحدث عن حقوق الملكية الفكرية intellectual property. والملكية الفكرية إن كنا عم نحكي ملكية صناعية أو ملكية أدبية فنية هي أساسية، خاصة بالوضع اللبناني، لأنه مثل ما قلت ما عنا إلا نتاج فكري، ما عنا إلا أفكار، ما عنا إلا اختراعات، ما عنا إلا أدب، إلا فن، إلا موسيقى، شعر، مسرح، سينما، برامج كمبيوتر. هيدي كلها يجب أن يكون عنا قوانين ملكية فكرية تؤمن الحماية اللازمة لكي يتمكن المخترع والمبتكر والمبدع من أنه يستحصل على المردود اللازم من نتاجه الفكري. وهذا الأمر الطريق الوحيد الذي سوف يشجع الاستثمارات أنه تجي على لبنان. إذا ما عنا حماية ملكية فكرية سوف يقل عدد الاستثمارات الأجنبية في هذا المجال في لبنان. اقتصاد المعرفة ما بينبنى بقرار واحد، اقتصاد المعرفة بينبنى برؤية سياسية، بينبنى بإطار قانوني واضح، وبينبنى بشراكة بين الدولة مع القطاع الخاص مع الجامعات ومع الانتشار. وهون القانون ما بيكون عائق ولكن بيكون أداة لصناعة المستقبل.
So as highlighted in this video, Lebanon has already taken steps and is in the process of taking more steps across 4 areas to support the knowledge economy in the context of institutions and governance. That is by introducing robotics and AI in schools, legalizing e-signatures, strengthening personal data protection, and improving intellectual property protection. Mr. Bakar, from your perspective, what laws and regulations you think are most critical today to enable a knowledge economy in Lebanon?
Thank you. That's another excellent question. So basically, in all innovation worldwide, you notice that regulations are always a bit delayed because lawmakers have trouble to understand the technology, have trouble to understand what is it going to change in daily life, what is it going to change in what everybody is doing on daily basis, and therefore innovation goes a bit faster. So what lawmakers could do is sit together with experts, sit together with institutions, universities, and basically understand how and when laws should be in place in order to be ahead of any issues that can occur. And to give you a very small example, drones. Drones are basically one of these innovations that were ahead of regulations. And you see now that there is a struggle in containing them, in understanding who is controlling them, and they are being used as a tool for bad deeds.
Yeah. Thank you. Now, finally, we can have the best talent, the best policies, and the most advanced research, but we need some basic level of infrastructure for all this to function. Dr. Ptesh, digital infrastructure, like reliable internet, for example, is often cited as a major bottleneck in Lebanon. From your experience, what is the minimum level of infrastructure that is needed to have to enable a knowledge economy, like to have more technology development, remote work possible? What could that be?
Well, Maria, in fact, we deploy our solutions approximately everywhere in the US and European Union in Africa and Middle East. So majorly, if you need really to support this knowledge economy, we have to start with the basics here. We are really far behind. We need to have a proper energy planning, take into consideration the cloud infrastructure that we require and the AI processing power that we require. Definitely, we need connectivity. Today, one of the anecdotes that we say is that we had to pull a lot of strings to protect our team during the war. Because the team value was majorly communication, and we needed to send the data, we needed to deploy remotely. So internet was for us a day-by-day anxiety. What if the internet got killed simply during the war? So all the teams should be dismantled. We should export all the people outside our country and begin again reestablishing the team. So internet connectivity should be always secured. It should be redundant. It should be always available, more than 99% available. We should treat similar kind of pillars as boosters for our economy and stop dealing with them as local issues. Today, the internet, whether through satellites, through Starlink, through the fiber infrastructure, should be a basic for all of us to be capable to build upon. Plus, we need to be capable also to develop our cloud infrastructure. We need to have data hosting partners that go over to our country and deploy their services, like Microsoft Azure, like Amazon AWS, or other partners as well. Because today, if you look at the knowledge economy, we need to create the ecosystem for startups, for research. And for example, in healthcare, we need test beds. Test beds can only be used within the premise of a national infrastructure. You are not allowed to transact your data, demographic data or clinical data, which are highly secure data outside your country, or host them outside your country. It is simply not allowed by regulation. If we look also, for example, for the sandbox environment required, if I am an AI startup today and I need to test-base my solution, first thing I need to have is a sandbox environment with proper processing power. These are, I think, the two main pillars that we need today before moving on to e-signature, e-government. Then definitely we can expand, for example, the power of AI in telemedicine coverage and remote rural areas support, or even for e-signature or e-contracts for the government itself. That would definitely limit, for example, in our case, corruption.
Thank you. So we've talked about the opportunity, we've talked about the enablers. Now let's focus on the connector that brings all this together, the Lebanese diaspora. Mr. Wahbe, from your experience, what are the most effective ways that the Lebanese diaspora can contribute to the knowledge economy in Lebanon?
So I believe that if we're going to focus on the traditional internships and jobs and freelance opportunities, that's only putting a Band-Aid on the problem. The best high-value opportunity are centers of excellence and labs that are overseas. So if anyone in the audience is part of a lab in any country in the world, those high-value opportunities that are creating the intellectual property that drives the economy, those are the opportunities that Lebanon needs to connect to the talent here, is working on stuff that's solving real problems and not just, some small freelance jobs that are just putting a sort of a Band-Aid on it. So I would urge anyone that's participating in any of these labs or centers of excellence overseas, and anyone that wants to maybe map the knowledge economy of Lebanon or work on a knowledge economy center of excellence, to participate in that, because that is what I believe is going to boost, because that's what it's done. If we look at the GDP of California by itself, California's economy is run on R&D. And that's how innovation is. It's intellectually and R&D driven. And that's how we need to approach it in Lebanon as well.
Yeah. I mean, if we have the intent, we also need to put a structure to it. Like, how can this all happen and make it happen? So, Dr. Sahili, how can we transform the Lebanese diaspora's global network and all these various initiatives into a structured engine for Lebanon, for the knowledge transfer, and also who do you think should be leading this effort?
Well, I think it has to be visionaries who can tell us by 2030, 2040, where will we be, what are the potentials that we are unlocking clearly. We cannot just think, for example, about energy solutions because we want to power on appliances at home. we are all talking here about AI. Has the energy strategy taken into consideration the needs for AI powering, which is now, for example, one of the barriers even in the USA? How, I think for a structured engine, first it has to be built on a stakeholders approach. Think of it like, for example, similar to Industry 2.0, let's say LDE 2.0. What does that mean? It means that we have a kind of decentralized autonomous organization where it is blockchain secured. Diaspora can vote on investment opportunities. Take as an example Armenia with their Impact Hub. They have been able to unlock around $200 million, if I'm not mistaken, since 2020. So these are the things that we need to have in order not to work anymore in silos as emerging diaspora leaders, but at the contrary, to be working together. And here you have to involve everyone, government, diaspora associations, alumni that are present in Lebanon, everyone that can help into turning what I call the ad hoc remittances into strategic evolution of our diaspora into Lebanon role. Thank you.
Thank you. So many countries have probably gone through the same and have benefited from from their diaspora in different parts of the world. Dr. Mitri, can you share examples of any successful diaspora-led initiatives that you know from other countries where Lebanon could learn or it could be a realistic learning for Lebanon?
I'm not gonna give you an example because I am the example.
Okay.
سمعت ما الوزير بسيم شو عم بيقول انه لغوا القناص عشان تسمعني؟ راح عيط. I'm doing my best. Okay, so كنت عم بسمع حديثك من شوي، كنت عم بتقول انه we don't know who, maybe you know، لغيوا القناص للملحقين التجاريين. Exactly. So I am part of the steering committee مع السفارة الفرنسية بالسعودية. وزارة الخارجية عندها بروجرام اسمه بزنس فرانس. بزنس فرانس عم نحكي عن 1700 موظف متواجدين ب 50 بلد و100 بلد through partners. شغلتهم الوحيدة ياخذوا هالسكسسفul entrepreneurs والشركات الناشئة الفرنسية ويوصلوهم للبلدان كافة. بالسعودية لحالها وشركتي أنا لحالها one company in one country we contributed للإيكونومي الفرنسي $70 مليون in 2024. it's very easy. benchmark موجود. business France is a program inside وزارة الخارجية متواجدة بالسفارات تعمل benchmarking سنوي للنيو انتربرونورز والشركات الناجحة بأي بلد كان وشغلتها تعمل هيدي الكونكتيفيتي بيناتهم.
Okay, thank you. So to close this panel, I will ask a last question, which will be common to all the panelists. So very briefly, in one word or maybe a short sentence, what should define Lebanon's knowledge economy's future? Mr. Wehbe, if you want to start.
I would say it's a center of excellence, and similar to one of the speakers earlier that said sort of Lebanon and gastronomy as a form of diplomacy, America is using AI as a form of diplomacy. So we need to figure out what is Lebanon's form of diplomacy for the knowledge economy so that we can work on programs similar to Business France. So center of excellence.
Okay.
For me, I will keep it very short. I will call it the resilience of the Lebanese entrepreneurs. Like I said when I started, I believe in our entrepreneurs, شبابنا, هن مستقبل هذا البلد.
Thank you.
I would say an evolution of our resilience. We speak about resilience. I think it's time to evolve that into a new era.
I believe that if we need to play big, if we need to become a scalable nation, to be influential in our region and globally, we need to re-establish trust. Trust with a long-term vision for the government, for the public sector, also for the private regulations. The only way international corporates will come back to the country is by re-establishing trust. This is the main word.
Thank you.
In my humble opinion, in order to strive as a knowledge economy, one needs to really focus on the basics here in the country. That's safety and security. Make sure that we all have that. We all have these basic things, and the Lebanese institutions will continue working as a knowledge economy. They will continue working as the export country for the region, but also for the whole world, because this is what we are, this is who we are, and this is what we're good at. Now, in Arabic, I would say, aman istiqrar, and everything will flow. كل شيء بيمشي لحاله. Thank you.
So basically, like centers of excellence, entrepreneurship, resilience, trust, Lebanon as a base, all this, we need them to happen to have like a strong knowledge economy. Thank you so much for your exceptional contributions. I will ask you to stay on stage because we've been talking about what needs to happen, but now we'll see a concrete example of a diaspora initiative that is happening. So we are joined now by Dr. Lubna Hasnieh, who will share an initiative led by the Asher Foundation for Innovation and Entrepreneurship for establishing incubators in universities in Lebanon. Dr. Hasnieh is a published scientist in the field of angiogenesis and its role in cancer growth. She is the producer and moderator of Unheard Stories, a monthly webinar that aims to heighten the Lebanese diaspora experience. She is here today to represent the Asher Foundation for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. Dr. Hasnieh, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and fellow members of our global Lebanese family. It is both an honor and a joy to be standing among you here today at this remarkable, high-energy gathering of minds, of dreams, of achievements that reflect the true spirit of Lebanon wherever it shines around the globe. My deepest gratitude to the visionary team behind this empowering initiative, the LDE, and all those who have worked hard to bring our diaspora together. I would like to take a second to thank our former minister and member of parliament, Gibran Basil, for always taking good care of the diaspora and understanding very well the key role that the diaspora can play in the well-being of Lebanon and the recovery of society, recovery of economy. Thank you so much. Let's give it to the LDE. Well, today we are celebrating not only the individual success stories, but the collective heartbeat of a nation that thrives through its people. We, the diaspora, left home to build, to innovate, to lead. We never ceased to carry Lebanon in our hearts. Now, the biggest question remains, however, for all of us, the diaspora. How can our experience as diaspora be woven back into a shared project of hope for Lebanon and the people of Lebanon who decided to remain deeply rooted in this land despite all adversities? Now, it is self-evident that broadly shared prosperity and reduced deprivation are the hallmarks of a healthy society and a thriving economy. Let me ask you, when does the opportunity cost of instability become too high? Well, it's when people have realistic pathways for advancement, when our young men and women can realistically plan for their future, our nation will achieve greater stability and a sustained economic prosperity. Now, our education system has given rise to remarkable ingenuity. We all know that. I've met, as a Lebanese American, so many brilliant and luminary Lebanese diaspora who continue to carve Lebanon's name into the annals of history. If you were to walk on NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratories campus, you would see a cedar of Lebanon tree planted there in honor of Dr. Charles El-Ashi. Charles El-Ashi is the former director of NASA's JPL and the vice president of Caltech. Now, I consider myself lucky because he invited me to visit his office at Caltech. And from the minute I walked in, the first thing he said, "Look at that frame on the wall behind my desk." Well, it was a frame on the wall with the flag of Lebanon sitting right next to the flag of the United States. He said, "This is the same Lebanese flag that I would send on missions into space during the several space missions that were launched under his tenure at NASA." We have the Dow brothers who transformed technology. They founded Dow Systems that built innovative computer systems for hospitals, and then took a 180-degree shift and went on to disrupt and change the wine industry in California, and currently doing the same in Tuscany, Italy. You cannot drive up the coast of California without feeling the spirit of Dow. Now, the brothers harnessed creative thinking and a bold entrepreneurial mindset to unlock tremendous value and growth. Sadly, over the years, Lebanon has lost so many great talents. To encourage talent to stay in Lebanon, we need to nurture innovation, provide our students with the right resources and adequate funding to turn their ideas into viable businesses. We need to create jobs in different industries, and we need to support entrepreneurship. Now, at the Asher Foundation for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, we are keen to do just that. We are currently working to establish and fund centers for innovation and entrepreneurship on campuses throughout Lebanon. These will be ideation centers and incubators that will have a far-reaching impact on the institution, on the students, and more broadly speaking, on the economy. Part of the foundation's success story is that there is already a Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship at UZEC, the Holy Spirit University of Kaslik. It was established back in 2017 and has helped and supported more than 40 startups. There's a new accelerator also called LabHub that is designed to help high-potential Lebanese startups coming from all incubators in Lebanon. It is absolutely a diaspora-powered program that connects entrepreneurs with the global Lebanese diaspora for mentorship, for market access, for distribution channels, capital, while providing all the support they need back home. LabHub will also serve the number of existing companies, pre-existing companies that are looking to expand and grow. Now, the foundation is currently and very naturally seeking more investors, more mentors, and more distribution channels. Because LabHub and the incubators can never have enough support to serve the growing number of companies and innovations coming through the university incubator programs. Now, the director of LabHub, Mr. Khalil Isa, is sitting with us today. Yes. If you have any questions or you need to be filled in on more details, please don't hesitate to reach out, and I will be there too to answer any question you may have. To end, I call on all of us to go beyond the bounds of our situation, our current situation that has held our nation and our people back far too long. Let us call upon each other to shift our thinking and redirect our perspective towards empowering our youth and make them the successful entrepreneurs of the future. Buddha put it best when he said some 2,600 years ago, and that's 2,600 years prior to the discoveries of quantum physics, when he said, "What you think, you become. What you feel, you attract, and what you imagine, you can create." So let us imagine a beautiful and majestic Lebanon, and let us create a path forward for all of us, filled with hope, innovations, and opportunity for all. So thank you so much.
A group photo for everyone.
Our next panel is Cross-Border Investments, moderated by Leah Cremasty, brand strategist and business podcast host.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very happy and honored to be here with you at the Lebanese Diaspora Conference Energy today, a platform that brings together Lebanese talents, decision makers, and people who are able to make a difference today in Lebanon and across borders. Before we begin with our esteemed panelists, we will be watching a small video intervention for Alain Bejani, former CEO of Majid Al Futtaim, business strategist and investor who is not able to make it in person today. Let's watch together this video.
Alain Bejani, it's a pleasure to have you with us today.
I think the Lebanese diaspora is extremely, extremely interested and committed to Lebanon. And we've seen that for so many years in every aspect. Through thick and thin, the Lebanese diaspora has always been there in support of Lebanon, of course, of their own families, friends, but also the country. I think what we need is few things that are extremely important, and also basic. One, we need the rule of law. That's something that we don't really have. Two, we need functioning institutions. Three, we need a banking system that works. So in my opinion, once we turn Lebanon into an ecosystem that works even on the basics, we are going to see a big leapfrog in terms of inflows, investment inflows into the country. I think trust is an outcome. You cannot decide that you are now going to become trustworthy. You have to act in a trustworthy manner, whether you're an individual or whether you are a government. In my book that's coming, it's about leadership. I write a lot about trust, because trust is the foundation of anything that actually works. So what I just said, rule of law, functioning institutions, an ecosystem where you have actually a banking sector that works, an economy that functions like any other normal country, a free flow of people, services coming in. These things create trust. When you think about it from a diaspora standpoint, Lebanese living outside of Lebanon have so many opportunities in the countries they are in, but also globally. And they have access to these opportunities, whether they are investment opportunities or other opportunities. And they always prioritize Lebanon despite the difficulties that the country has been going in. Part of it is patriotism, part of it is identity, part of it is actually a real desire to partake into rebuilding the country. It's very simple to inspire trust. It's not difficult to do it, but you have to have the willingness to want to inspire trust to others. I don't think there is a specific model that we should go for. I think what we need, given the reality of the country today, is we need to turn Lebanon into an investable destination. And the models can come later on, but we need to start with the basics. And the desire, as I said, from the Lebanese diaspora to partake into Lebanon's growth is going to be so strong that it's going to, in my opinion, is going to impose a new reality. And that will have huge economic benefits to the country. What matters is very simple, okay, is to make sure that we are trustworthy in our behavior, to make sure that we have a functioning country and an investable country, which is extremely important. People also need to make sure that they will be able to send money to the country, but also send money back outside of the country. There's no investment. I think Lebanon presents so many opportunities when it functions properly. We've seen that. Lebanon presents strength in some sectors. The service sector is a sector that has so many opportunities. I think we need to bring ourselves again up to standard, because some countries around us, whether it's in the Gulf or globally, are ahead of us. But this is a sector where we can still play and win. Real estate sector is a very important sector in Lebanon and will always be a very important sector in Lebanon. We need to deregulate that sector, and we need to make sure that actually it's seamless to be able to invest there, whether it's development or whether it's simply personal investment. Looking at technology, I continue to believe that Lebanon is, of course, I mean, we all know that we are subpar, but what we need to do is to make sure that we have technology infrastructure in the country, tourism sector generally. That I think Lebanon, there has been a concentration of investment in Beirut and its surrounding, but also there's a lot of opportunities outside of Lebanon that on the wellness side, I also think that luxury could actually travel very well in Lebanon to other places. We've seen it, for example, with the kind of the organic growth of guest houses across the country and this kind of new industry that's there. The problem is not attracting investment. The problem is having investment opportunities. Shark Tank is a great example. There is so much money that's wanting to come to Lebanon, and this is primarily diaspora money wanting to come to Lebanon. But we need to actually create an environment that is investable. And the startup ecosystem in Lebanon is very active. What I think we need to do more is actually help our entrepreneurs become more business savvy. They don't lack creativity. They don't lack resilience by miles. Okay, I think they are the most resilient entrepreneurs. But sometimes by being too resilient, you accept realities that you should not accept. And a Lebanese investor, whether a Lebanese investor in Lebanon or a Lebanese investor from the diaspora, people are aware of the importance of standards. And people want to see standards in the business. They want to see whether it's transparency, whether it's governance, whether it is economic viability, whether it is business model, whether it is operational standards and capabilities. These things are important. People at the end of the day are investing their money, they expect a return. And we should decouple investment from financial support. Investment means you're putting money and you're expecting a return. Financial support, you're putting money and you're expecting a smile in return and a thank you. An economy cannot be built on support. It has to be built on investment. We as Lebanese in Lebanon, we have to get our act together. And we have to decide that we're going to do things differently going forward. The diaspora is there. I am confident that the diaspora will always invest in Lebanon. I am confident that engaging the diaspora will always be a good thing. And I think LDE is a great example of how to engage the diaspora in a constructive way. LDE is a great, I would say, platform to do two things. One is to create a Lebanon fund, okay, where diaspora members that may not want or have the capabilities or the desire to do individual investments, or, I mean, they can still do that, of course, or go into investment that are commercial directly or not, or through their current platforms. But I think it would be great if we create in LDE, okay, or if LDE spearheads a Lebanese fund for Lebanon, where diaspora members will have the opportunity to chip in. A lot of projects that the LDE Diaspora Fund or the LDE Lebanese Fund can invest in will be can be more strategic, and you can have in this type of fund more patient capital that I think Lebanon needs to do certain projects that maybe on a pure commercial basis it may not work. Or it can have two or three buckets. One would be about more strategic projects that need patient capital. The third one I think is very important is to create a startup fund where Lebanese people, whether in Lebanon or abroad, who actually want to invest in Lebanon and to invest in the Lebanese startup ecosystem will have that opportunity.
Thank you, Alain. You set the tone perfectly for our panel discussion today. I'm very honored and pleased to welcome our esteemed panelists on stage, each making a difference in his own industry. Farid Shadid, Chairman and Group CEO, Shadid Capital Group. Aline Kamakian, CEO and co-founder, FIG Holding, GM for IIC SARL. Yahya Asa, President of the Lebanese Franchise Association and CEO of ColorTech. Shakib Shihab, CEO of Malia Invest Ira. Eli Rizq, President of the Lebanese Gulf Business Development Commission. I'm so happy because you accepted our invitation. The objective of this panel is to discuss the challenges, the constraints, the opportunities as well, and translate experiences into clarity, and most importantly, into an action plan. And this is what we all want for Lebanon, our Lebanon, the Lebanon that we love. So Farid, I'm gonna start with you. When we talk about investments in a country like Lebanon, with all what we have been through, what are the challenges and the deal breakers when thinking about Lebanon for investment? We're going straight to the point. We're not gonna,
Sure.
we want to go there directly.
Thank you, Leah, and thank you for LDE for the invitation. Definitely, Lebanon has been through major challenges. We all know them, the financial crisis, the Beirut port explosion, and of course, the latest security and military issues that we've encountered in the last 2 years. These challenges, nevertheless, have strengthened us, I believe. They have strengthened us because they have proven to the entire world and to ourselves that we are a resilient people. From our perspective, we as a group operate in many countries, but we consider that the Lebanese people are the most well-educated and resilient people that we encounter and that we have. And therefore, as a group, we use Beirut as a hub. Despite all the crises, despite all the issues, we've always used Lebanon as an international hub for our operations. So I would say, yes, we have challenges, but we have the Lebanese people who make tremendous strength for us as a country. And when I say Lebanese people, I'm talking about the people in Lebanon, but also definitely the diaspora.
The people, I think, are the greatest asset that we have. Aline, from an F&B perspective, so when we say we always do great in F&B, right? All sectors are going down, but F&B is booming in Lebanon, and we've witnessed this across crisis. So what are your views? Are the challenges from an F&B perspective the same as other sectors?
You have, first of all, thank you. Thank you, LDE, for inviting me. Challenges is you have two styles. You have the business in general, you have the challenge. You have the Lebanese challenges are always different. And you have the F&B. F&B today is, most of it is about people. Okay, about people, about infrastructure. You have this that is really, without service, without people, you cannot. So you have the people challenging that today, unfortunately, we had an export of all the service people, all the trained. Second, you have an infrastructure problem. Each restaurant, like each house, it has to have own government, from the water, from the heating, from the electricity, from the location, from the parking. So all of this is extra challenges. Usually in the other world, you have to create, you have to focus on your ingredients and the focus. Here you have to be really a government by itself in your own restaurant.
Thank you, Aline. Yahya, from an entrepreneurship perspective, how has cross-border entrepreneurship been affected post-crisis?
Well, there's a big difference with the complete ecosystem before and after crisis. So if you go before crisis, Lebanon was the holdco, the holding company of all the entrepreneurs. The IP, the intellectual property is registered in Lebanon. The banking goes in Lebanon, the financial, the legal. What happened post-crisis is a big change where all the big brands you would hear, the Lebanese brands, have migrated from Lebanon to establish holdcos in these onshore free zone like ADGM, the IFC, Cyprus, and etc. So all the now Lebanon is a back office to cut overheads down, and it's no more the headquarter for our. This is something that we're gonna feel down the road, because the added value is not anymore 100% in Lebanon. This is what's happening with the monetization and with the IPOs, and if you've heard of the recent food and beverage merger and acquisitions, all of these are happening outside of Lebanon, although the brands are Lebanese. This is something we need to fix down the road.
When we talk about investments and Lebanon, Shakib, the question is for you. We know that there are some trust issues. Trust is a barrier today. What is, in your opinion and from your experience, how we can regain the Lebanese diaspora trust to invest back in Lebanon?
Okay. Thank you first, Leah, thank you. I think the investment first is the investor has no issues with risk, but he has issues with uncertainty and volatility. So trust is a key. Trust does not mean that it is a risk-free country. Trust means that the investor knows where he's heading, knows the laws exactly, knows where is his dues and where is his obligation, but what is his, who is protecting him. Data is important as well for trust. When you know the market, when you know the size of the market, when you know the dynamics of the market, when you know that also you're not going to have surprises with the laws, with the regulation, with the legal structure, with all that's happening. Second, this trust is also perception. Trust starts out of the country. When the diaspora investors are looking to the country, the first message is vehicled by the embassies. So here I voice again the importance of the commercial attaché and the structure we have in our embassy to vehicle the proper message of what Lebanon has to offer.
Thank you. Elirize, considering the relation with the Gulf today, where are we? How would you assess the situation when it comes to investing in Lebanon?
شوفي, there is no doubt in اليوم today, if we ask any GCC country or person, would you invest in Lebanon? I can assure you, the answer is not no. The answer will be maybe, because now Lebanon is not being rejected by the GCC countries. It's being priced. At what price, what cost, what are the risks? We all know that to create investment environment, we need 3 pillars in Lebanon. You need sustainable peace, like His Excellency Minister Basir always emphasized on the importance of having a sustainable peace. You need political stability. You need a transparent and accountable government, because in nowadays investment economic ecosystem needs trust as a currency. The currency of this modern investment ecosystem is trust. So you need a transparent and accountable government, and you need to restructure the banking sector and to have a financial reform. If we ask anybody in the room today, is Lebanon potential for investment? I can assure you everybody will say yes. Now the question is, how can we make it a country that can generate investments credibly and safely?
Thank you, Eli. Farid, since you're very optimistic and really you're considering Lebanon as the hub, where do you see today realistically? Where are the opportunities today in the country?
There are lots of investment opportunities. Definitely, it requires political stability. I will mention a few, and then I'll focus on one. Definitely on infrastructure, and specifically transport infrastructure, logistics hubs, everything related to transportation of specialized materials or not to Syria with the reconstruction of Syria. This is definitely an opportunity for Lebanon to use Beirut port or Tripoli port, but it requires specialization. You certainly have technology, artificial intelligence, analytics. Okay, we have a pool of talent here. We have also an entrepreneurial spirit whereby Lebanese can set up and establish companies and offer services and solutions abroad. The tourism industry, definitely cultural heritage, hospitality, all of that is very much mentioned before. But I think there is a sector, and this is the one I want to focus on, that has tremendous opportunity, and this is the healthcare sector. And the healthcare sector has shown its resilience during all the crises that we've been through, and it is definitely not affected by an economic crisis, because whatever the situation, people still want to have care and need to go to hospital or need to go to a clinic. And for that, we have in Lebanon an aging population. We have an increase in chronic cases that requires definitely treatment. We have the potential for regional inflow of patients to Lebanon from the Gulf and further than the Gulf for treatment. And you have medical tourism, specifically for aesthetics, cosmetics, dental care, orthopedics, fertility. All of these require, they can come to Lebanon and will have potential, and they can get the treatment. So specifically, our healthcare sector have shown its resilience, and in the last 4 or 5 years, we've seen a lot of doctors and nurses leaving Lebanon to the region, but I believe there is a potential to bring them back here.
100%. Aline, from your perspective, how do opportunities look? Because we cannot, health sector is ongoing across despite all crises, and I think FNB also can fall under this.
Lebanon is passed through different wars and has a lot of challenges. A country who has a lot of challenges coming out of war, it's always an opportunity for the investor because there's a lot to do. And investment comes high risk, high return. So this, if we take this out of it, you have, of course, I'm not going to talk a real estate or whatever Mr. Farid had. The restaurant business within, if you see during these 2 years, we had another 180 restaurants opened. Okay, that means there is an opportunity in this. There is always an entrepreneur, a Lebanese entrepreneur, find ways to create and to invest. We have today, after the explosion, a lot of restaurants gone. So today you're still replacing. Before August 20, we had 5,000 restaurants. Today we're not even 50%. So there is a great opportunity for restaurant, but you have to know that if we don't have an income people, tourists, diaspora who's coming, what is existing already, it's too much for the Lebanese people. So it has to go together. It has to have safe, touristic, and yes, there is a big opportunity in this.
Thank you. Yahya, from your experience, can you tell us also how do you see opportunities today from where we stand?
Opportunities in Lebanon, we can take it in a holistic matter. We always have opportunity, even in crisis. You know, people, it's a kind of change of wealth from one party to the other, and so Lebanon has always opportunities. But if we look at the franchise sector, we see very dynamic markets being created around us. The Gulf growing at exponentially north of 10% yearly CAGR. You look at the US, Asia Pacific, growth is there, and we have the concepts, and Lebanon is being a very good incubator for concept and new concepts to go and plug in this system. It's true that Lebanon, in terms of governance, we're a bit far from where we need to be, but then things will happen slowly but surely. Let's see.
Thank you. Shakib, since we're talking about also talents and Lebanese talents,
yeah.
So how do you see today the Lebanese talents in Lebanon and across the diaspora from your expertise?
I think the Lebanese talents are the best we have as national wealth. Of course, we are exporting our talents, but that's not so bad. I mean, I'm not the type of person that would retain people here, because those are traveling abroad, gaining experience. But the most important thing is that when they gain experience is to let them contribute in a way or another to the development of the country. So talents in Lebanon are, I think they're amazing with their resilience, with their flexibility, and this is the best wealth we have, especially in the private sector.
Definitely, and we're so proud of the talents across all industries, across all countries. Eli, from your perspective, if we want to give 2 actions for LDE today, for the next 12 months, what would you say?
Well, we have the Lebanese diaspora, especially in the Gulf. They are a blessing, not a curse, because their role in the Gulf, they understand the mindset of investment for the GCC people. And we all know that the Gulf investors, they admired Lebanon. They admired the Lebanese people culture, creativity, entrepreneurial skills. And we do have lots of partnership in various sectors. We can start by creating small joint ventures on specific projects with return on investment. Especially now with the PPP, the public-private partenariat, it offers a lot of potential to generate investment from both the private sector and the government sector. And we have countries like Qatar, countries like UAE, who is approaching us already and bidding on projects like Northern Airport of Rene Mawad. UAE is interested in the port of Tripoli and the economical city of Tripoli. And we have governmental entities like the telecom, like the transportation, so many opportunities in the government sector. And as the private sector, we can focus on agro-food, agri-tech, because all the Gulf countries need to create a safety net for food, assurance of food, and Lebanon can play a very good role, especially with the new technology of agriculture, using hydroponic, latest technology, and focusing on niche product, high-end agro-product. We don't want to invest in old-fashioned way of agriculture where our young and youth are not interested anymore. In all our urban countries, like now Batroun became a hub for wine. It's competing with Bordeaux, mashallah. And there is a chemin de vin, which is a very good experience because we were successful in our wine, in our apple, in strawberries and blackberries. So we can, with our Lebanese diaspora, create joint ventures into this product, because what we can do today is export services and trade and import tomorrow investments.
Thank you. Farid, today, if you want to give 1 action that we need to start applying at LDE, what would it be?
Eli mentioned the diaspora in the Gulf. I would mention the diaspora in Africa. Definitely the diaspora in Africa is, I believe, neglected. Neglected because they don't have flight connection with Lebanon, not frequent, not all the countries. Whenever they want to come to Lebanon, they go through Istanbul or they go through Paris, and I believe this is wrong. There are lots of investment opportunities both ways, and I will take the one I've mentioned, which is healthcare. There is a tremendous need in Africa for healthcare services, in particular for the Lebanese diaspora that is living there. We have almost 100,000 Lebanese living in Côte d'Ivoire. And you look at so many other countries you have there, you have tremendous number of Lebanese. The other sector that can have cross-border investments and where both Africa and Lebanon can benefit is education. We already have USG that has set up and established in Abidjan in Ivory Coast, but I think other universities can do that. We can receive people from Africa here to further their education. So definitely connectivity with airlines, definitely Middle East airlines. Second, education, and therefore make it easier for Africans to come over here for education or for business to be able to get visas and be welcomed over here.
Definitely. Aline, one action plan for today. We don't want to think long term. Today.
I think LDE is the best to be the connection between Lebanon and the diaspora, is the bridge. Coming from outside, a fund or something to invest in Lebanon and to have a return, and to take despite everything, you have a lot of SMEs, a lot of entrepreneurs that can be grown outside, can be need opportunity, and this LDE can easily do it. It's there, I think it will be there best from my point of view.
Thank you. Yahya.
I would say the most important point is connecting capital to operating companies in Lebanon and to entrepreneurs in Lebanon. So LDE can do that in so many ways. With the lack of the banking sector financing, people need financing in Lebanon. And we need just somebody to connect both capital with operating companies. I can add an idea is to create this. Everybody talks about this diaspora fund. We have around 25 million, you would know more, 28 million Lebanese descendants outside of Lebanon. If we take, and I was on a panel and proposed the idea, and I'm proposing it again. If we take 5% of these committed Lebanese, and they commit $10,000 to invest in transparent, because this is where the trick lies, transparent opportunities in Lebanon, well organized in pitch decks. If you put 10,000 allocation, this is a fund that is worth, for 5%, around $10 to $15 billion. We don't need anybody to help us. We just need the proper mechanism and transparency.
Thank you. We have a lot of action plans to implement. Shakib.
The fund also was my favorite, but it was picked by the others. So I think that the best thing to do is to channel as well this as a fund by sector. And of course, transparency, governance, legal. The second point, if I need to add, is a real investment law that is giving incentive to the foreign investor. We cannot invite Lebanese or foreign investor, because we need both actually, to come to invest in this country if they're not protected. They need to have a full protection by a super investment law. That's a key. Second, definitely the trust, the fund is key. The fund is key because, you know, diaspora is, until today, is like the ATM machine. They are giving donations, donation to their family, donation to their villages, donation to left and right, to the religious community, etc. But instead of giving this donation, instead of giving the fish, let us help the locals to know how to give them the net so they start fishing. So I think instead of donation, we should start attracting investment that is more sustainable, that is better for the future, and that is also elevating the business community because it's giving knowledge, know-how to the locals.
Thank you. Eli, if you want to send today a message to the Lebanese diaspora who want to engage but don't know where to start, what would you say?
شوفي LDE is the best platform اليوم to connect the diaspora with the Lebanese people المقيمين يعني. وانا I think the next edition of LEDE بما انه حتنعمل بالصيف I strongly recommend انه we host a panel of matchmaking investments لانه بيقلي مثل ما قال خينا شكيب في كتير مشاريع في عليها ROI ومعمل لها دراسات وفيزيبيليتي ستادي where the Lebanese diaspora can invest وبيكون الشانل هو هذا القطاع الخاص. So مع انه الNDE نجحت ترجع النوستالجية والحمص والتبولة للبنانيو الانتشار وساهموا ببناء قرية المغتربين بالبترون. اليوم لازم نرجع الانفستمنت مش الايموشن ROI return on investment. بقى نحن حاضرين بخبرتنا بالخليج وبالمعارض المؤتمرات نتعاون مع المنظمين LDE لانه هذا كتير مهم كجسر كبريدج لا نحول وجود الدياسبورا من نقمة برا إلى نعمة علينا في لبنان والمشاركة بالاستثمارات اللبنانية. وهون بدي أشكر أنا الوزير باسيل من 2014 لما كان بوزارة الخارجية مش بوجهه وأنا ماني تيار ولا مرشح معه يعني على الانتخابات بس أول واحد فتح لنا مجال إنه نحن لبنانيو الانتجار ونحن بجدة وكان معنا خينا محمد ومجالس الأعمال بالخليج وعيننا ملحق اقتصادي بجدة وقالنا مولوه أنا بمشي فيه وبناء على هي صار عندنا ملحقين اقتصاديين اللي خدمونا أكثر من السفراء ونحن بنتأسف إنه الغيون وبنطالب إنه يرجعوا الملحقين الاقتصاديين ونحن بنشكره إنه هو كان أول مبادر إنه خلق لنا إياهم لأنه كتير خدمونا مع الانتشار وكانوا كتير إفادة أكثر وأقل رواتب وأقل انفاقيات يعني ما بعرف ليش حطوا عليهم إنه عم بيكلفوا الخزينة.
Thank you, Eli. Farid, a final message to Lebanese who are here today, who maybe started businesses, they had to shut down businesses, they had to close, to they're low on morale, if you want. What would you tell them?
I would tell them not to be afraid. They can create a global business out of Lebanon. We have the resources, we have all the possibilities, we have the talent. So they need to persevere. You know, when we are faced with challenges, the most important is to learn from these challenges and is to use these challenges as a springboard to do better and to fix whatever weaknesses we have. So the first comment or the first thing I would say, and the only thing I would say, don't be afraid. Just go for it and you'll be successful.
Keep moving. Aline, you're positive, full of energy, very optimistic, always spreading positive vibes. What would you say?
Still positive. So I see Lebanon, because we have a lot of challenges, there's a lot of opportunities. Okay, today entrepreneur can solve our challenges, and this is a great opportunity that can be exported. Plus, there is a lot of money now. Okay, any entrepreneur who has a good pitch, there is a lot of money because people don't know where to invest, or there is a lot of opportunity of money. So I don't think they have the challenge of this. They just have to pitch well and create the solution, and the rest is easy. So I always tell, jump out of the plane, put a parachute, enjoy the ride. So definitely there is a lot of challenges. Don't be afraid, as Farid said, just jump.
Thank you. Yahya, a message to Lebanese and a message to the Lebanese diaspora.
Okay, to Lebanese entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Okay, so Lebanese entrepreneurs is to think long term, not short term, because opportunities. I'm speaking now as the president of the Lebanese Franchise Association. So I've seen a lot of brands being using Lebanon as a pilot to launch the brand, and then they do a nice brand, and then they they sell it outside, and then with time the brand actually disappears, and then a copycat or a Me Too is created elsewhere. So number one is to organize properly and to think long term and to strategize about your business and to think where you're taking the business in 5 years and 10 years and to work towards that. This is very important. So you have to prepare legally, financially, protect your IP. I've seen a lot of brands just Yaline would tell you stories about that in the franchise industry. So you need really to protect yourself, put the end game, and then move on to get there. So this would be my best advice. Think long term, strategize, end game, and yes, there's something also that we don't see in our culture in Lebanon. Also, you have to think of the end game in terms of monetization. Are we going to IPO the business? Are we taking it to Abu Dhabi to IPO there, or to Saudi Arabia, or are we just selling the business after 15 years? So this needs to be part of the discussion from the beginning, so that all points align together while we advance. And this is also an important point.
Thank you. Shakib, a message from you.
Well, I think this is the best time to invest in Lebanon. Let's have a look on the Lebanese scene. We're back. Our economy is growing again. The inflation is contained. Real estate is still under valued. And Syria is opening again, which is our neighbor and our normal market. We're talking about the Levant. So I think that if we don't invest today, when will you? Especially that today banks are not present, so Lebanese sector needs fresh finance coming from abroad. We see that Lebanese private sector is also changing and evolving towards the governance. So we see a lot of groups, Lebanese groups, that are moving from a family business managed to a fully governance, despite family owned, but they are now working in full transparency and full governance. I think this is the best time to invest now today in Lebanon, in all sectors. Agriculture is important, and I fully endorse what Eli was saying, especially when we're talking about the agriculture in the regions. And this is also helping a lot the locals to stay where they are, not to move all to the cities. So yeah, definitely this is the best time.
Thank you. This is the best thing I believe we've heard. It's the best time to invest in Lebanon, and we invite everyone who is a bit like worried or resistant to take the step now. Eli, is a final message from you.
شوفي, we have a golden opportunity اليوم. نحن كنا نصدر لبناني الانتشار، يروح هو وعقله وجسمه وجسده ويساهم برا. We have a golden opportunity اليوم انه يرجع هاللبناني المنتشر يستثمر في لبنان، invest in Lebanon، واعماله تنتشر. عندنا كثير شركات لبنانيه مثل ماليا جروب، مثل باتشي، مثل العديد من الشركات هم مقيمين في لبنان، و they are investing in Lebanon، اعمالهم تنتشر ومش ان ينتشروا، وهذا دور ال LDE.
Inspiring discussion indeed, and we'd love also to hear from the audience if you have any questions, any thoughts, any suggestion to our panelists. We'd love to hear from you. So just raise your hand. We have the gentleman. We need a mic, please, for just 1 second.
It's a muffin mic, we can hear them.
We can hear you if you want to give it a try.
It's okay.
The mic is here.
هلو اوكي. اول شيء اول مره بشارك ثانك يو لانك اسستها. بقولوا البحصه بتسند خابيه، بس كيف اذا صخره سندت صخور. عن جد ثانك يو. انا امين صفير. I'm an architect with 35 years of experience, and I'm taking an executive MBA recently from the AUB. I'm curious why nobody mentioned real estate. because real estate is the strongest sector where we can invest in Lebanon, especially with the scarcity of land. And I am promoting, also through AUB, a platform titled that we are selling trust and certainty for diaspora, Lebanese diaspora investors. This is my message. You need to add real estate to the investment sectors in Lebanon. And we are trying to solve the banking sector crisis through giving financial facilities. We can trust each other also. Not only we can trust the banks. Thank you.
Thank you. Shakib, you were talking to me about real estate. Would you like to add anything on that front?
Yes, the gentleman would not like what I'm going to say. I'm not a big fan of real estate, if it's only real estate. I'm a super fan of real estate when it is creating jobs, when it is producing something. Real estates like hospitals, hotels, restaurants, agriculture is also real estate, industry, anything that is creating value, creating jobs is more than welcome. Real estate for real estate, of course, this is important, but again, it would only protect your fund from the inflation, because the real estate value is here, and today with the very low interest we have in the banks and with the inflation, this is the only way where you can secure your money. But real estate should not be the only place where you will block your money. I love to put the money where production and added value is created.
Thank you. Would you like to? We have another question. Please, we need the mic.
يعطيكم العافية. دكتور جورجيت الحداد، المستشارة دكتورة جورجيت الحداد، رئيسة مؤسسة تأهيل. بالأول بدي عن جد أشكرك وزير جبران باسيل، وشهادتي مجروحة.
I think we're not able to listen properly to the question.
بدي أشكر الوزير جبران باسيل، مش من اليوم أبا عن جد هو عم بيشتغل للبنان. عم بيشتغل مش لمصالحه، عم بيشتغل للبنان ككل، اغترابا، انتشارا ومقيما. بس أنا بدي أقول كيف يا حضرة اللي عم تحكوا، كيف بدنا نرجع الثقة للبنانية يعملوا انفست بلبنان بعد ما أخذوا مصريات المودعين، وبصفتي أنا كمان مستشارة بشؤون المودعين، كيف بدنا نرجع لهم هالثقة إنه يرجعوا يعملوا ويستثمروا هون. بس اللي بدي أقوله كيف عندهم الجرأة ياخذوا أموالنا ويتهموا غيرهم. السرقة مبلشة من قبل جنرال ميشيل عون كان رئيس، قبل وهلا شرعوها للسرقة. كيف إلكم قلب تاخذوا مصريات مودعين؟ شغلة تاني بس بدي أعلق على هيدا، سألوني برا عن المؤتمر إذا كان مهم أو لا. بدي له لوزير السياحة بالعكس، أول واحد لازم يكون على بجرأة تحكي وتشجع هيدا المؤتمر يلي عم يجمع الانتشار بالاغتراب، هو صلة وصل وعم بيخلينا نشوف اللبنانية. لك اشكروهم اللي عم يحطوا مصرياتهم بلبنان وأكلتوا لهم إياهم. شكرا وزير جبران باسيل.
شكرا لسؤالك. شكرا. بتحب تجاوب على التراست اللي حكينا اوريدي عنه؟
اكيد في مشكله مع القطاع المصرفي يعني والقانون او القرار اللي اتخذته الحكومه، بس وهلا رايح هيدا على مجلس النواب. بس نحن ما فينا كمان نوقف حياتنا ونوقف مستقبلنا وما نفكر شو بدنا نعمل ناطرين حل للقطاع المصرفي والمشاكل اللي عنده اياها المودعين. بفتكر كلنا خسرانين وكلنا متاثرين وكلنا تاثرنا من سرقه الودايع، اوكي؟ بس بنفس الوقت نحن بحاجه نطلع لقدام، اوكي؟ وبحاجه نستثمر بالبلد ونحافظ على شبابنا ويبقوا بلبنان، مش يهاجروا. بقى يعني اذا فكرنا بالاستثمارات مش يعني هملنا او نسينا او لازم ننسى وضع المودعين. وحده ما بتلغي الثاني.
يحيى.
To answer مسيو صفير ما هيك اول شيء في emotions. Let's put emotions on the side and take things بطريقه ما بدنا emotional investment. هيدي بتوصل دائما لمشاكل. اذا نحن بنطلع على كل بروجكت بندرسه مزبوط، عشان هيك حكيت عن transparency. اول شيء transparent projects الى pitch decks فيها الفاينانشال projections، فيها كل شيء ممكن واحد يتوقعه، وبعدين and eventually you invest based على scalability, based على team, based على business model. This is how you protect investors from شو اسمه. real estate, although real estate أنقذ الاقتصاد اللبناني so many times. و I think real estate واللي بيشتغلوا بالreal estate especially هلا بالopportunities in Syria, I think you have a lot of work to do in the near future.
So we'll end it with two questions. We have the gentleman and
hello, my name is Dr. Jihan Khouri. I'm doctor in finance. And my question is for Mr. Yahya as president of LFA. What are the incentives taken recently to help actually the small and medium enterprises to go outside and to internationalize? Were there any new incentives, any new schemes put in place to help these SMEs to just go outside and go search for new markets? Thank you.
So what we do? Yeah. Hello. Yeah. So what we do at LFA is just play the catalyst to. What we do at LFA is just play the catalyst and provide the learning curve, the accelerated learning curve, for what we call what we name them as the associate members to become franchisor, full-fledged franchisor. So it's just accelerating the learning curve so they don't fall in this trap of others or the problems that others fell into before. So learning curve, capacity building, seminars, and we issue, and you will have the new version in 1 month, the complete structure of all the franchises available in Lebanon, whether franchisor or franchisees, every other year. So once every 2 years.
Okay. الحقيقة أنا نعقب على اللي قاله خينا يحيى. الفرانشايز فورما هو أهم فورما يخلي الانتربرونور اللبناني يصدر أعماله لبرا هو وبلبنان. تجربتنا مثلا مع خينا يحيى بالحرب ما هاجر، ورث عن بيه مؤسسة صغيرة كبرها، صار اليوم كولورتك بالبراندنج اللي عمله موجود بكل دول العالم، من السعودية للخليج لسوريا إلخ. الفرنشايز اللبناني أكثر شيء مطلوب بالسعودية وبالخليج. حتى تعاوننا مع الفرنشايز اسوسيشن، دربنا العمانيين وغرف التجارة بالخليج هاو تو دو فرانشايز. تعاوننا نحن وخينا يحيى مع LFA ندرب الخليجية على الفرانشايز وكلهم they are imitating. So this is a very good للستارت اب وللSMEs انه يبلشوا بكرييتيف ايدياز وياخذوها فرانشايز، واكيد LFA هي احسن بلاتفورم انه ياخذوها على الخليج، والخليج is the best market for it.
Farid, you wanted to add something on that front?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that us as a group, we test all our ideas in Lebanon. For us, Lebanon is, we do our pilot projects here. We test the ideas, whether they are for retail customers or business to business. We test them in Lebanon because it's cheaper to operate out of Lebanon. Okay, so it is, the cost of a mistake is lower if we make it here than if we make it anywhere else. Second, the Lebanese customer is very sophisticated. So when you have a satisfied Lebanese customer, you are sure that you can have any other nationality as a customer to be satisfied. And for us, this is the best testing ground.
Thank you. We have one last question.
Good afternoon.
Sorry, because we are squeezed on time.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rami Majzoub. Being involved in the knowledge economy ecosystem for the last 25 years, actually my question is maybe a convergence between this panel and the former panel related to the knowledge economy. We've heard a lot of interesting things, and maybe the person who can answer it's not one of the panelists now, but someone in the audience, because I followed with particular interest the video of Dr. Pierre Khoury. My question today is that there are billions being invested in the knowledge economy in the GCC, in the Gulf, especially when it comes to the AI. So how can we, as Lebanese, whether the private or governmental sector, attract a chunk of this AI, of this billions? So part of it, we have to be legally fit. We have to have all the infrastructure. My understanding from Dr. Khoury is that we are already getting there, but are we ready, one? And two, where are the sectors in the knowledge economy, especially in AI, where we can seek funds the most investments from the GCC countries, where we can have a specific market niche?
Thank you for
I
your
don't know whether
question.
it's Pierre or someone else who should answer.
Any thoughts from?
I can mention one sector where
I think you need to bring a bit the mic. مش مسموع.
I can mention one sector where we have a definitely competitive advantage. This is healthcare. Why? Because we have data, okay? In the Gulf, they definitely have cheap electricity, and they can build data centers, but they need data, and the data we have it here. We have hospitals that have been operating for over 50, 60, over 100 years, so we have data, okay? This is not available everywhere else. So although they have the cheap electricity, we have the data here. So the combination and using data from here and the cheap electricity from there is definitely a winning combination. So there are other sectors that we can look at and work on, but definitely we have so much resources here that we need to utilize.
Yahya, you wanted to add something?
Already, I think the Lebanese play already a major role in the startups vertical or whatever, in the digital or whether digital or AI or quantum computing, and they're getting a lot of funding from GCC, but the holdco is not in Lebanon. The holdco is either in Cyprus or in ADGM or the IFC, and you would be amazed to know how many Lebanese thrive in this atmosphere.
Thank you. Thank you for this productive talk. I think despite all the challenges, the crisis, and all what we have been through, the Lebanese talent is the winner and above everything. So this is the image of Lebanon we would like to portray to the world. We're very honored to have you. Let's take a group photo, and the LDE team would like to give you a small gesture. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
حان وقت الغداء. ندعوكم للتواصل